Imagine booting up your old computer, one not even connected to the internet, and finding messages from someone living in the 16th century. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, for a school teacher named Ken Webster, this bizarre reality unfolded in his small cottage in Dodleston, England, back in 1984. This is the incredible, and incredibly strange, story of the Dodleston messages. It all started when Ken Webster, living with his friends Debbie and Nick, borrowed a BBC microcomputer from the school where he worked. Soon, strange poems and messages started appearing on the screen. At first, they dismissed it as a prank by a friend, but when Ken brought the computer home again in February 1985, the messages took on a whole new dimension. One appeared, written in a strange archaic form of English. It said, "I write on behalf of many. What strange words you speak. This thing that shines with devilish lights looks very expensive." The message was signed with the initials LW. Confused, but intrigued, Ken and his friends showed the text to an English teacher, who confirmed it was a genuine form of 16th century dialect. This wasn't just a prank. This was something else. They decided to reply. They typed out questions. Who are you? When are you from? Who is your king? They waited. To their astonishment, a reply appeared. The sender, LW, revealed he lived in a simple farmhouse, and that his king was Henry VIII. He also mentioned a local landmark, Carden Hall. At first, the details seemed a bit off. The sender claimed King Henry was 46 years old, but historical records showed he was only 30 at the time. The punctuation was also too modern. It seemed like a clever but flawed hoax. But Ken and his friends persisted, and the conversations continued. The mysterious man eventually revealed his full name, Lucas Winman. As they communicated, Lucas's historical knowledge became frighteningly accurate. He shared intimate details of his life, the heartbreak of losing his wife and son to the plague, his trade as a beer brewer, and a vivid description of his house, which he said was built of red stone. Here's where the story takes a chilling turn. Ken's cottage wasn't made of red stone, but during some home renovations, they decided to dig up the kitchen floor. Beneath the modern foundations, they unearthed the remnants of an much older building. The foundations were made of unmistakable red stone, exactly as Lucas had described. It seemed his house and Ken's house were one and the same, separated only by 400 years of time. The mystery deepened. Lucas, or Thomas Harden, as he later claimed to be, revealed he was a student at Oxford. Research by Ken and his friends later confirmed the existence of a Thomas Harden who attended Brasanos College during that exact period in the 16th century. The historical accuracy was becoming undeniable. But just as they were grappling with the idea of communicating with the past, the story took another, even more mind-bending twist. A new third party entered the conversation. Lucas explained that one night, a strange box that glowed with green light, the computer had simply appeared in his home. He wasn't just talking to Ken in 1985. He was also in contact with someone else, someone from the year 2109. Soon, Ken and his friends were also communicating with this future entity. They called themselves the Tachyians. When Ken demanded an explanation, the reply from 2109 was cryptic and unsettling. They wrote, "We offer two choices. 1. We explain in a way you understand, but it will lead to undesirable consequences. 2. You try to understand that the three of you will be responsible for changing the course of history. We are from 2109. We guide you, so you can make your own destiny." As these messages from the future appeared, strange paranormal phenomena plagued Ken's cottage. Unexplained footsteps, objects moving on their own, and sudden, icy cold spots. Both Lucas in the past and Ken in the present believed these were the side effects of the Tachyon's interference across time. Desperate for answers, Ken contacted the Society for Psychical Research. Investigators arrived, skeptical but professional. They devised a test. They wrote 10 secret questions for the beings in 2109, and then deleted them. Ensuring Ken and his friends never saw them, the response that came back was hair-raising. The Tachyons addressed the investigators by name and acknowledged their presence, but refused to answer the questions directly. Instead, they made two startling predictions. First, they claimed that Fermat's last theorem, a mathematical puzzle that had baffled experts for 350 years, would be solved within Ken's lifetime. This seemed impossible, yet in 1994, the theorem was indeed proven. Second, they provided a set of astronomical coordinates, promising that a celestial object, a quasar, would be discovered there. Years later, astronomers did in fact identify a quasar at that exact location. The proof was piling up, yet the mystery was far from over. The communication with Lucas suddenly took a dark turn. He sent a frantic message saying he'd been arrested for witchcraft, a terrifying accusation in the 16th century. In a desperate, bold move, Ken typed a threatening message to the magistrate through the computer, posing as a powerful entity. Incredibly, it worked. Lucas was released, but their time together was drawing to a close. On March 21, 1985, a final message from the past arrived. It was from Thomas Harden. "My dear friends," he wrote, "it is time for me to depart. I will write a book of our adventure, and though it will be centuries old, I promise I will write it before I die. With that, the connection to the past was severed. The Tachyons from 2109 sent one last message of their own. They confirmed that Thomas did write his book, but died shortly after. He hid it in a safe place, written in Latin. You should find it someday, they wrote, and then they too went silent. Ken Webster documented this entire impossible saga in his book, The Vertical Plane. He and his friends have always maintained that every word of it is true. Critics are divided, calling it everything from a complex hoax to one of the most compelling paranormal cases in history. The physical evidence, like the Redstone foundations and the startlingly accurate predictions, is hard to ignore, but the ultimate proof, the final piece of the puzzle, remains missing. Somewhere, perhaps gathering dust in an old Oxford library, a centuries-old Latin book might just be waiting to be found, holding the final word on the incredible story of the Dodleston messages. What do you think? Was it real? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the unknown.